Boards, games, boards, games, it's what I'm talking about. Boards, games, boards, games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And over there, in a totally different place, it's someone who I think is totally ace. It is Dina. We've met her before. Dina is someone, adore is a really strong word, even though it just kind of rhymes so well with other things.
It does.
You know what? I don't know. Adore feels like it has senses of infatuation or a romantic nature. I don't know. Is it just me, or does it have those sorts of connotations to you as well?
It can, but then it kind of really depends about context, I think. Like I often say, like, I adore the artwork, not because I'm like in love with it, like romantically, but because I'm just obsessed slightly on a low-key way.
Anyway, board games is what we're talking about. Board games and Dina Ramse. I'm not gonna shout. Hello and good morning. Hello, Sate, who says, wait a minute, getting to know Dina. Isn't Dina like the top 3 most common guests? Probably in like the top few. And this is Dear Dina's doing dramatics. Hello, Elaine. It says lovely to see you. I am Bez. This is episode 293, and I just want to let everybody know that next week is episode 300 at this time, and then on Friday I am taking a break. On Sunday I'm taking a break, and then the following week I'm taking 4 days break. So because this is quite unusual, because I've been doing 300 days in a row, I just want to keep telling people that at the start of every show for the next week. But
it's nice how I'm always like, 1 week before the big round numbers. Like I did, what was it, 98, 189. I like the prelude of everything that is yet to come.
And it will be a crazy epic show, and I don't know when it'll be finished. But today we are getting to know Dina Ramse even more. We've done a meeting, Dina Ramse. We've done a marketing with Dina like every couple of weeks almost for quite a while. But today we're not talking about marketing at all. It's not allowed. No marketing.
But we did in the shenanigans. Like we also tried that, but we still ended up talking about marketing. I think we just have to accept that marketing is a big part of my life. And it's very difficult to get to know me without also getting to know about my fascination for marketing.
That is true. And marketing is such a wide-reaching thing, which to some degree you can say that marketing, especially when it's community management, is thinking about what you're doing and who you're doing it for. And making a game is similar. And actually, we did have you on last week when we were making a game. I don't think we talked about marketing at all then, did we?
No. Though I do think the game that we made does have good marketing potential with the polyomino and boat part. I would have loved to see it finish, but I don't think it is a game that is like playable over stream. Like both me and James were saying the same thing. Like we would love to like take this idea and just like go with it and make it like big, get it on a table for a lot of people.
Yeah, I've not seen anything like that before, where you're drawing your own polyominoes, people are voting for it. So I'm really proud of what we came up with.
Yeah, and I think we did some great stuff there.
Today, what we're going to do is we are going to have some questionably quick questions, where I will be giving lots of questions to catch us up from 6 months ago when we first met Dina. We will talk about everything. We'll talk about philosophies, first memories, what was the first thing you ever remember doing? And let's go right back to the start. Ask the big questions, and I'm not going to hold back, because now Dina's been on a while. This is where, the claws gets unleashed a little bit. And hello, Nicholas. Lovely to see you. Hello, Hal. And thank you very much. We both have amazing hair. That
I
you
mean,
are allowed
I,
to
I
see
do
that.
have the Kitty Cataclysm right next to me, so getting the close out sounds appropriate.
Nice.
We
Well,
played it yesterday with the kid. He
ooh,
thought it was hilarious. He was having a little bit of trouble counting the numbers because he didn't quite like how it's like an M with a cat. So he was like one cat, two cat counting the cards. But then I was like, oh, actually the numbers on there. He found it a little bit confusing, but he is almost 4, so that's completely normal. But he loved the artwork. He kept talking about it. Like, oh, look at this guy. He's running away with the fish. Mommy, you're stealing your fishes. And I'm like, I don't even have a fish, but okay.
oh, that's so super cute.
It was
And
adorable.
that brings us very nicely to our recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. I'm going to talk about my very recent highlight from this morning. This is a photo that I took about a couple of hours ago. This is in the local park. I went there. I've not been there for over. I've definitely not been there since last time I was in Glasgow, so almost a year for sure. It's just a nice park, and wandering around, there weren't too many people, which was good to see. Sometimes taking a different path to make sure I didn't run into anyone. And this is what it looks like if you are not familiar with Botanic Gardens in Glasgow.
It's
And so
beautiful.
that was a lovely thing. Also, I have been reading quite a bit of, let me make myself bigger, Pretty Little Mistakes, which I think is such a good pick your own storybook. And it is very adult. It's kind of good for maybe young adults, I would say. There are notions of a sexual theme and violent theme and drug abuse and all sorts of things that you probably wouldn't want to let a 4-year-old read. But this is a really solid book, and because of the way it works, it's just incredibly short stories. Anytime you read it, it's just going to branch, and then maybe after 5 sections, that's the end. But it's a nice short story. They kind of have wee callbacks. And also, from the internet, I got a brand new copy of Usagi Yojimbo Senso. I've only read the intro, but I'm really excited to read the rest. So that is something I'm looking forward to. So that is me. How about you, Dina? What have been some of your recent highlights, and everyone in chat?
I took a picture of the Kitty Cataclysm book on top of my head because obviously I like balancing games. And I posted it on one of the Facebook groups, and they were like, "Where's the game? I don't understand. Why are you doing a selfie?" And I was posting it with like hashtag shelf of opportunity. And they're like, I don't get it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to balance it. And it's like lunch hour, and I'm trying to, there in my room, trying to balance the Kitty Cataclysm, like so you can see a little bit more of it on top of my head. And it is mere an inch wide, so it's not a lot of surface actually connecting with the top of my head in order to balance it. And I'm getting my tripod out because I can't really hold the camera and do it, and my shutter, and it's just so much work just to really get a good picture of it. The wibble is wider when you're measuring them side by side. So, but
Is
yeah,
it wider? I mean,
it
they're meant to be
is.
exactly the same box.
It is slightly wider.
I'll have to. I don't think I'm not sure I've got to Kitty Cataclysm in Glasgow, but I'm sure they're exactly the same size.
I thought so too, but alas. So that was a lot of fun, and we got some conversation going on talking about both the game and also about shelf of opportunities and just like me balancing games on top of the head in general, which spun into me doing a meeple circus. I did a TikTok where I'm balancing a whole tray on my head with a bunch of meeples balancing on top of other meeples, which was a lot of fun. But yeah,
Completely
that's what I.
ridiculous, but why not? It is literally
Yeah,
fun and games.
It is fun on games, but we did get to play Kitty Cataclysm afterwards. That I've publicly announced and shamed myself for not having played Kitty Cataclysm. I put it out on the table, and the day after, my kid was like, "Okay, let's play this game." And we played a couple of rounds, and he thought it was a lot of fun, and he loved the artwork. And he's like, "Oh, there's cats!" And then I had to deal with him for 4 hours being, "I'm a cat, I'm a cat," and go, "Meow," which I absolutely hate when small kids do this, but it is also kind of adorable, but it's like, oh no, like just be human, okay? let's be people again. I'm done being cat. So that was a very exciting day.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm glad to have, even if it were a little bit annoying, I've got a wee bit of pride at facilitating the cat pretending.
Yes, it happens quite a lot here.
And hello again, Alex. It's lovely to see you. Who mentions you could slide something inside the box lid? So if you take the box lid and then you were to maybe put the back in like that.
Yeah, but
I mean, would that be easier? Could you then?
You could maybe see that I was kind of cheating, and the whole point is to balance it on
But
the
even
side.
if people can't see, you kind of want to. You want to have that sense of pride for yourself, don't you?
Right? I mean, I can, just to be able to say that I can balance this little box that is mere an inch wide on top of my head and move around with my arm out like this, and like taking a good picture and checking for light, and I can do that. And I've proven it to myself now, so it comes with a bit of pride.
Well done. I think that, yeah, let's all give a wee bit of applause for Dina. So if anyone else has any questionably quick, any recent highlights, then feel free to do it. Let's talk about a brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Now, I've never done this before, but Dina Ramse, why are you brilliant? Dina Ramse is totally brilliant because Dina Ramse, dances along and just has such a bubbly personality and is, lots of marketing knowledge and is willing to share it. And yeah, just becoming a regular guest and getting to know you over the past 7 months-ish, let's say.
9.
6 months.
But okay.
What, 9?
Yeah.
I mean...
But the first visit on stream, would be 7 months. But I did hang around for 2 months before I was invited.
But anyway, Dina's brilliant. I hope you all agree. Now let's talk about why Dina is brilliant. And so yeah, there's some love hearts for Dina. Dina, why are you brilliant? You can talk about yourself. This is the time to cast aside all that self-doubt and all that shame at being too proud. Just, why are you brilliant?
Okay, so I think I am brilliant because I'm kind of like a hot potato. And I will explain it, okay? So in Norway, we say that good people that you want in your life, they're kind of like a hot potato. You can have it with anything, right? Not that I actually do eat potatoes because I think they're absolutely yuck. But the concept of potatoes, I can get on board with. And I'm kind of like a hot potato. I'm kind of hot. It's because the sun is literally shining on me and I'm wearing a sweater. And I try to figure out what people need me to know and do and be. And I find a way to not compromise my own integrity and also fill out the gaps that are around me and my community. So if someone needs someone to connect gamers who are casual gamers with game designers and have playtesting sessions, then that is something I can do because I have seen that this is something that is needed around me. So I make sure that is people that I try to connect with. So I always look for opportunities that may arise and need for later. So I always try to be one step ahead of everything else. And that kind of works because I have ADHD, and I think ADHD is a brilliant thing. It does make me kind of bubbly and makes me able to be a hot potato.
Nice. And I also like that analogy. It feels awesome.
Yeah, right?
So if anybody else has anything, yeah, just chuck in the compliments. Just, go for all the compliments. And, or if you don't feel like you know Dina so well, just chuck in some love hearts for Dina. And let's have all the love. But while people are doing that, because there is a wee bit of lag between us and Twitch, let's move on to the questionably quick questions. So, where are you? What time is it?
16 minutes past 12. I am in southern Finland with the sun shining into my living room, which is where I'm sitting. I am currently 15 centimeters further back from last time I was on stream. And I did measure because I used the reference last time with me standing literally like 40 centimeters away from me last time. So now I have efficiently created a triangle, which is now my workspace. My little office nook is this magic triangle that only I can see.
That is impressively precise. And sorry, I'm going to pop this back on. I just love this comment from Elaine. Dina on the show never fails to make me smile.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, people are lovely.
And if anyone else has any questionably quick questions, then jump in. I have a long list. I'm not going to lie, this is a very long list. So, when did you wake up today?
I'm not quite sure, but I have a feeling it was somewhere between 5:30 and possibly 6:30. As in, the kid woke up and he decided he wanted to go play, so he went playing. And I was kind of awake, but not really awake. And then I think I fell asleep again and woke up again because he was moving, and I'm not quite sure when awake actually happened.
Yeah, the joys of parenthood.
Yep.
Have you eaten yet?
Did I eat? Oh, yes, I did. I found myself a vegetarian barbecue panini on sale at the corner shop. And since it was like 30% off and nobody ever buys anything vegan in that shop, I'm like, well, I'm a vegetarian, so I'm going to go get it.
Wow.
I was like, it was calling to me, and there was like 5 of them, but I can only get one. So when I got home, I put it into my waffle press because I don't have a panini maker thingamajiggy. So yeah, I did have breakfast.
So that is the last thing you ate?
Yes.
And who's the last person you spoke to in person?
Not counting my kid, right?
Okay, let's say not counting your kid.
My neighbor! Okay, so yesterday I got my kids some board games, right? So this is actually kind of a fun story. And I don't know anyone in this building. I don't know anyone in this town, basically. Like, I've talked to 2 really old people who have, like, one of them is the grand aunt of my kid's godfather or something, and the other one is a random guy I met at the train station who wanted to chat with me, who turned out to be super awesome. But that is like the other 2 people I know in this town. But this person who lives across in the hallway from me, I've been slipping in notes because they play music occasionally. And I think that their music is really nice, and I've been curious, and I see them get deliveries for like a drum set, so I've been kind of expecting to hear some drums soon, and I'm all for it. Like, if they want to make drum sounds and, and they are suffering my kid playing the harmonica, then, so be it. It seems like this entire block is playing music at some point during the day. I'm all for it. So I keep slipping notes that my kid makes because he loves card making. Like cutting and gluing things. He loves it. And I love it too because it's like focus time for us. So I write little notes on these cards to all the people in my building. Go like, oh, I loved your music today, or stuff like that, right? And here the other day, when I was doing the stream last week, when we were doing the game designing, I got stuck outside my flat the day before. And I had to sit outside, and it was like -17, and it was like super cold, and my neighbor started talking to me. And this was my first encounter with my neighbor. And then obviously, since he was nice and he was offering me to sit inside at his place while the locksmith was coming over, I decided that the best way to say thank you in Finland is to give coffee. So I got a really big fancy box of coffee and I put a note and I rang the door and I ran away. Because, no awkward encounters, just a note. And they loved it, apparently. And they slipped a note back saying, thank you for the coffee. Maybe we can have one together one day. And then yesterday so back to the part about the puzzles. Context. So I got the kid a bunch of puzzles, like one of these really big ones with like 10 different puzzles in one box. And that's a lot of mess, and I have to sort that. So I am in an emergency, I need help, wrote #help needed on a piece of card. Do you have any plastic baggies to donate? We just got a new puzzle in the house. And I slipped it in, and like half an hour later, my kid was running around naked, and he was super excited for having gotten the puzzle, and the door rings. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? Was that the door? And my kid is super excited, like he's like, wow, door. And there's my neighbor with a big chunky plastic bag with lots of plastic baggies inside. And he's like, this should fit you perfectly. And I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted. And I didn't actually expect anyone to do it. But there he was, as a knight in shining armor with a bunch of plastic bags for me to sort a bunch of puzzles late in the evening for my kid. So, yeah, that was so cool.
That sounds amazing. We've got a comment from chat. Alex saying, Dina is brilliant because she's just so much fun to hang out with and full of interesting subjects and creativity. For example, the story that you just shared, the lovely one. I agree. It is super lovely, and thank you for sharing that. Alex has a couple of questions, which I'll ask right now. What is the color of your favorite smell?
I'm getting a lot of these really weird ones. So my favorite smell is probably cookie dough. Like peanut butter cookie dough, right?
Okay.
And I think the color that would go with the peanut butter cookie dough is like I'm thinking more like a fabric texture, like a corduroy, a dark brown corduroy, like the kind that teachers wear on their jacket, but like as a pair of pants. That color with like the corduroy texture, yeah.
And just for our UK-based listeners, by pants, Dina means trousers.
Yeah, I mean trousers.
I mean, I've not... Corduroy underwear would certainly be an interesting thing.
It doesn't work.
Are you speaking from experience? I was just like...
Yeah. Fabric... the different fabric works for different things. Corduroy doesn't have the correct give in it in order to work for underwear. It has like moisture repellent feature that makes it really unsuitable for underwear. Like you could basically give yourself a yeast infection if you try. Yeah.
Okay. So, next question. If you could safely visit any location in the solar system for a day trip, where would you go?
So I would have to choose a planet that actually has, well, it doesn't specify planet this time. It did specify planet last time. But let's see. Okay. Anywhere in the solar system. So I think I would want to go to the top of Olympus Mons.
So can you describe this place and why?
So Olympus Mons is one of the tallest mountains in the whole solar system, and there's something nice about it being taller and grander than the Mount Everest, and everyone is like, oh, it's so hard to get onto the Mount Everest, and then I could be all like, well, that's nothing, I've been 10 times higher than that.
So basically it's just for bragging rights.
Yep.
Wow.
Be like, yep, been there, done that. I did Olympus Mons game.
Which planets is it on?
Okay, now I actually have to think, because my kid always spews out all these random bits of space knowledge all the time. So I'm gonna go with Mars, I think. Is it Mars?
I'm trusting Alex to know this. So it is indeed Mars, apparently.
Okay. Yeah,
RPGs or board games?
Oh, I feel like it could be a big trouble no matter which one I choose. This is a trick question. Okay, so I started out with role-playing games, TTRPGs, and I've written 4 TTRPGs myself. I've only co-designed 2 board games so far. Well, not counting the game jam. So let's say 3 then. And been asked to help out on a solo mode for another one, so that's going to be a 4th. So at that point, I will be even, but I have been longer in TTRPGs, and I do call myself the Grandmaster Extraordinaire. Because of how I approach TTRPGs, that's been quite unique for a game master. I always think about how it is to help people be able to express a story together with other people, like a symbiotic being that we are together. And not a lot of game masters do this. So I've been hired in to do game mastering for weekend week trips for kids, and like camps for them. So yeah, I think in that sense, TTRPGs and role-playing games is just, it's forever in my heart. It has a special, yeah. It's where I started, being told I couldn't play Dungeons and Dragons because I was a girl, and then going off and finding role players myself, and starting to date one of them because we had an in-game romance, and yeah, that's where it all started. And we didn't even start with D&D. We started with Star Wars because that was way too cool for D&D, right?
Okay, so your lover of RPGs might get into kind of where that's all started, but let's keep it moving. Describe yourself in 10 words.
10 words. That's a lot of words. Inconsistent rambler, delectable creature of the let's see, of the forest, wildling at heart. Am I at 10 now?
That's 10.
Yeah.
You did a lot better with that than the last time I asked you. What's the last book you read?
It's the one that I never remember the name of. Can I get it?
Yeah. Go on, get it. And so, just for reference, last time Dina was on, we discovered that Dina prefers books to podcasts. But what has Dina been reading?
Okay, so I'm doing a novel of Civil War by Eliza Cole. I Hope Divided, and I actually talked about wanting or going to read this for before the Shenanigan one stream that we made. So now I've actually started it, and it's super cool. I've been wanting to read more books from people of color, and this one was highly recommended to me. So I'm just so loving the way it does.
I'm going to be honest. It's a very sexy cover, like very.
Oh my gosh! Check it out. That dress. I want it. I want this dress. Like, oh my gosh.
Can you bring it up a wee bit? Because I quite like. I mean, upwards rather than forwards. Up. Because I just quite like the banner and the way Dave treats it, the typography with that wee banner, and so if anyone wants to check that out, that is that. And
she's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Oh, she's delicious.
So, what's the last podcast you listened to?
Some random discovered board game podcast on Spotify.
You cannot even remember the name. I mean, I'm not judging you. I'm just...
Yeah, generic white man with beard podcaster who sounds like 65% of all the other podcasters out there, who had someone on who also fits the white male description with the beard, and not someone that I had worked with or a project that I was super curious about. It was just they had done something different in terms of their outreach that I wanted to hear if they were going to talk about, which they didn't address a lot, which I was kind of sad about. And then, because it kind of came up as a suggestion after I listened to the Token Sesame with Meeple Marketing. And I found the Meeple Marketing for Token Sesame, Token Sesame did great things for their Kickstarter. They did a branching story in the updates, and I thought that was fantastic. Like, no one's ever done something like that before. And I think branching stories is a great way of telling stories, and it's basically like a solo role-playing game. And I've been wanting to do that for one of my clients. So I've been kind of wanting to hear more from the Token Sesame people about why they did it and how they went about it and stuff. But they seem to not talk too much about it, which is, yeah, I would probably just at some point reach out to them, because I was backer number 0, so maybe that will gain me some fame with them enough to get half an hour of conversation. So that's on my to-do list.
Nice. So Kitty Cataclysm is the last game you played in real life, is that correct?
It is.
Would you balance it on your head right now?
I don't have a box. The box disappeared.
That's even more of a challenge then. Would you balance all the cards on your head?
Okay, let's see. Oh, they are so slippery.
Nice.
There you go. So when I was 8, I was given lexicon to balance on my head by my foster mother, because she thought I should learn how to walk like a lady. I successfully managed to do so. My record was like 3 lexicons stacked on top of each other, and then walking down the stairs, and I felt like I could be the belle of the ball, because, you know, I could stack lexicon on my head. And then I realized I'm not really good at walking in dresses and high heels. So I had to be a belle of a different ball.
And last time we talked, I was going to balance something on my head and walk around my room if at least 2 people asked. But no one asked. Would you like to formally ask me to?
Do I have to use my points? I don't want to use my points for that.
No, you just have to ask me.
Okay, yes. Will you walk around balancing something on your head? Then?
I will consider it if at least one other person asks.
All right, people, community.
Okay.
This is your master speaking. Hail my quest and ask us to balance something on their head and walk around.
There we go. Finally,
there we
okay.
go. I love
so
you.
I'm going to maybe I'll make it a challenge. See how many wibble boxes I can have on my head.
Oh, yeah.
Like how many I can get.
Without elasticating them together.
Oh no! You're not allowed to use tools. That would be silly. I wouldn't be using like hairbands or anything. Yeah. Walk around with something balanced on your head. I don't mean literally right now. I mean, is that what people wanted? Do people want me to do this while Dina's talking?
I could do it too. Yeah, we already know I'm pretty good at this, right?
Okay, it feels like I should make sure there's all the components in the box. Okay. I'll start off with just this one. And, okay, I've done one. And then, while I'm getting up, why are meeples better than plastic figurines?
Sustainability! Actually, yeah. I kind of like it when things can be recycled. And plastic is really bad in terms of recycling. So that's really well done. Nice. Look at that. Also doing a twirl. Yeah. And if they get injured, you can file them down, and then you have special meeples, and you can make things out of the meeples if you're not playing the game anymore. I've always wanted myself a pair of maple earrings, but I don't want to get maple earrings who were made to be maple earrings. I want to get maple earrings from like discarded game, unloved, and then give them a second life kind of maple earrings and stuff. But wood is always better than plastic. I mean, our cutlery, like our plates here in this house and bowls, are all wood. Most of it that we have is bamboo, or actual wood, like from oak. Sourced here in Finland, a lot of it, and a couple of them has also been like made in Finland, so like chopped in someone's garden. Like I made wooden buttons for my kids' clothing and stuff. So yeah, I'm all in for using things that we have in nature that otherwise maybe wouldn't be used. And meeples are made out of scrap material from the plank business usually.
And Elaine asks, is there actually someone who does that, making things out of old board game components?
There is, yeah. Reclaimed board game components, getting second life is a thing. I've seen a couple of Etsy sellers who does this, but they're obviously it is all limited what they have in, and then it's kind of fun to see what kind of games makes it there. Like, discarded and partially found on a thrift store hunt and stuff like that. It's so cool.
It's a quick hello to Dutch Yoda and Ron, who just popped in. It's lovely to see you both. And speaking of meeples a tiny bit, what are 2 or 3 of your favourite games that happen to have meeples?
Oh, favourite games that has meeples. Obviously Carcassonne. I mean, I played so much, I cannot say that it's not a favourite. It gets pulled out so much in this house. So definitely Carcassonne. I do also like let's see. I have to look at my shelf here, and because all of the other games that I have in my shelf now, there's like different components. Like it's not meeples. It's like chits or cubes, or like I recently got Suro, so that has the dragons, which is plastic, which I think is terrible. But yeah, so I don't actually have other games than Carcassonne right now in the house that has meeples.
Yeah, I was trying to think about this myself this morning. I don't know if I could think of a second one that I'm like, yeah, I love that game. And it has meeples. I mean, I can think of a few other games that I have, but one that I can say I really love and it has meeples. And yeah, that's a hard one. Let's move on. And let's ask Alex's question, which is, would you rather have a pumpkin full of chocolate or a chocolate full of pumpkin?
Oh, I wonder what pumpkin chocolate tastes like. Like, I absolutely hate orange chocolate, but like pumpkin latte with like a hazelnut chocolate pump in it is really good. So I imagine chocolate pumpkin could be really nice.
Like if you had a dark enough chocolates, I think to mash with the I think you'd want quite a dark chocolate, maybe 70%-ish, to mix with the
73, 70 somewhere. And maybe like if you made like a nougat, pumpkin nougat is so delicious.
Okay, I was thinking of like just a solid bar of chocolate, maybe with bits of pumpkin kind of interwoven into the chocolate.
Like you would like with a sea salt sprinkle.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But it's inside the chocolate, kind of interwoven into the chocolate.
Can I say yes, please, both? I think we need to. Well, yeah, we need to explore this. What sort of pumpkin would it be? Nougat sprinkled on top, shredded, dried.
But we want all the pumpkins and chocolates.
All the pumpkin. Yeah, I
Okay.
love pumpkin and all the chocolates. Please.
Oh yeah, key flour.
Keyflower. See.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah, and
here's
I
a.
should actually say key
Yeah.
market because oh my gosh, I've actually got that. Although it might still be in shrink. I'm really sorry, David. I don't know if David will ever watch
What's
this, but
the? I'm really
David,
sorry.
if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. The game's still in shrink. It's just been. It had a bit of
See?
time when I could have played it, and then there was a long period of time when I didn't have any, couldn't play it at all. But also the people who come around aren't so into heavier games. But I am really looking forward to playing it.
When
Oh my
I was still
gosh!
married, I told my then husband I wanted Keyflower for my birthday because I was like, "Oh, I love this game. This game looks so cool." And it was in the middle of the Keyflower hype. In case anyone actually thought of it as a hype, I felt there was a bit of a hype around Keyflower when it came out. So I wanted it for my birthday because the publishing of it was really neat and handily, very close to my birthday. So I was like, "Hey, new game. I want it for my birthday." And he's like, "No, that's too heavy for you." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I think that's kind of like the moment when I realized, like, he's a jerk. Like, I need to move. And it all kind of started with me discovering Keyflower and wanting it. I still don't have it. It's going to be my 33rd birthday present to myself, as a like a divorced mom, finally established a new place for myself, and I now work with board games. And I showed him that I what I had done when I was last over. I know, right? It isn't even a heavy game.
There's quite a bit going on though.
It is, and people were talking about it on Twitter like the last couple of days as like how mean is the game if you were to compare it to say Keyflower, as in management of the table. And I still want it because it just it looks so nice. There's just something about it. When you see a game and you're like, I don't even need to know anything about the game. I just want it because it is clearly made for me.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, to be fair, thank heavens for small mercies. I mean, at least he didn't have saints and husbands.
Oh yeah.
Got nothing for the birthday.
I mean, if you asked for sight, I would have totally gotten you sight. That is. You just come here, move in with me. I have a spare bedroom, Zeke, and we will just live together. And you might have to deal with my kid, but then there will be games every evening. So I think it will work out for both of us.
So, yeah, the problem with Big Box Anachrony is that it's literally heavy.
Yep, it is a big lift. But I grew up on a farm, so heavy lifting is something I can do.
Nice. Wow. I literally need to resell Anachrony's big box because I literally cannot lift it. Empty.
Aye.
Yeah, that's not good times. I mean, I get that they need to make a solid box, but it's a good sign that they made a solid box. But yeah, I hope that you get to. That's sad times. Okay, we did say that we aren't going to talk about marketing, but let's talk about this for 20 seconds, just because it's been asked, and then we can redress it in a future episode, maybe in a couple of weeks or in 4 weeks or whenever you come back on. Is marketing harder during COVID?
No, it's just different.
Okay.
That covers the 20 seconds, right?
Yep, that's within 20 seconds. I didn't say in exactly. Okay. Why is art better than rules?
Art better than rules? No.
Yeah, last time I asked you arts or rules, and you said art.
I did.
Yes, you did. Do you
Why
want
is? No. Okay. So why is art better than rules? Because association and familiarity.
I like that. So I'm going to write that down. Association of
Art,
familiarity. Carry
yeah,
on.
art speaks to us. You know, like a picture says more than 1,000 words, while the rule book has literally more than 1,000 words.
Yeah, that's normally true. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sure there are some games like like the
yeah,
first edition of Wibble plus plus, now known as the L deck. With the rules on the cards, it's definitely less than 1,000 words.
yeah.
Maybe
It's true.
Yogi's less than 1,000 words.
I mean, I feel like we could do like a social media challenge with game designers. Like, how many words does your rule book have?
I mean, like with the games that I've been playing, I've been trying to condense the rules into, okay, let's do a summary in 200 characters just so I can
Yeah,
keep it going
right?
on the bottom.
And
But
then you have the whole board game in a minute thing, explaining all the rules and mechanics and the flow of the game, which I think is amazing. I love those videos, and that's so much work that goes into being able to explain a game in that short amount of time. But obviously, there's a lot of things that you're not covering, like special rules and stuff like that. But you get a really good feel for it. Oh, stretching time.
it's time for your stretch and it's time for mine. We are now encountering stretching time. Stretchy, stretchy, stretchy time. Okay, Dina, while we're stretching, what are some games that you love the art of?
Mm, I love like new ones or old ones, like any game.
Any game that you love the arts of,
Any
that if someone
game.
said, hey Dina, what game arts is actually good? And you had to pick, some of your favorites or some
Okay.
ones that you love.
I really like Keyflower. Let me just say that Keyflower is a delish. Um, I really like the art in I Love Cats. I think it's cute. It was pretty unique when it came out, of what they were doing with the whole thing. And it was a polyomnia, so obviously, yeah, of course I liked it. I really like lanterns. I think the artwork there is so pretty, and I think it's Hanabi. Also has gorgeous artwork. And then I've been looking at Karuba, which I also think it's really good artwork for what it is. I think it would be one that could be quite easily overlooked for its artwork because it is kind of generic fantasy dungeony. But actually, when you stop and you look at it, it is really gorgeous artwork, and it's just like little things that is like kind of hidden there in terms of what it's trying to be. I also thoroughly enjoy the artwork for I think it's called Finding Neverland. Adventures of Neverland. It was on Kickstarter last year, and for me, it was like instantly, I need this. I didn't even look at it. It's an instant backer syndrome. Because it just really looks beautiful. It's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. And yeah, there are so many games that I'm absolutely loving. Like there's one that's coming out later this year that is called King's Trial, which has like tiles, and it's the artwork there is just wow, so cool. And there's also like another one from Aman Anderson who's coming out with like some sort of a gnome, hollow gnome. I can't quite remember what the game is actually called, but it's still in like they're still painting it. It's watercolor and it's just absolutely amazing. And just look at that game. Like, The Adventures of Neverland is so pretty. It's going to be the most expensive game that I purchased for myself. I hope I get people to play this with me. Yeah, Queen Domino and King Domino
I mean,
also
what
has
I
really nice artwork.
notice is that when you get a game like this, the art permeates all the marketing, just the stretch goal thing. It carries on the theme of what's going on. I mean, look at that typography that they've used of the banners.
Yeah.
That is just completely lush.
It is like the entire thing is just, yeah, saturated with the color scheme of like the game is just the entire experience is just the game. So it's like you kind of gamifying the experiencing itself, so you feel like you already know the game before you even actually have the game. Like for me, I saw the first image and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna enjoy this game, I'm sure. And later, like a couple of weeks later, I was like, I should probably check it out. And then I look and I'm like, oh, it has minis, and I'm kind of against having a lot of minis in my games. I'm like, oh, that's not so cool. But the art is, oh yeah. So it's like for me, the artwork was so good that it got me over my hatred for this is going to be a miniature game. So yeah.
No, that is really cool, and this graphic back here for this banner. I mean, it's
everything.
really nice lighting with the rim lighting of the blue and the parchment's colors and the leaves. It's naturalistic feeling. It is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that people are right on with Queen Domino, King Domino when it's not detracting from the main thing, but it's just little details. Oh my god, it's the Loch Ness Monster. Oh my god, it's a dragon shadow from flying overhead.
And then, is this the Lord of the Rings or is it Harry Potter discussion? Because there's a arachnid and a guy who's standing in front of it. And it could be Harry Potter and it could be Lord of the Rings scene that kind of fits with that particular tile of King Domino. And I just love it seeing people and what their instant association is to the little hidden elements of the game.
So, last time the answer to this question is no, but now I'm going to ask, have you played Fable? No. Oh well. Which old games have you played?
I think we went through this last time, and I had played them all, but like one of them not properly.
So you haven't played Fable, Couple? No, you played Couple with a speed version, but you've played everything else.
Yeah. So we played Couple normally, but then we changed it because it wasn't our idea of fun, so we made it fun with the speed version. So yeah, I've not played Fable, but I've played all the other Outback games.
We did first time you were on back in August, we talked about the contest, and like back when that was going, any thoughts on like that? Like, I'm just going to ask some very self-centered. The next 4 questions are very self-centered. I'm just going to admit this. How do you think the contest went?
I think the winner was pretty obvious. And I wasn't surprised when it was announced.
You know, there's like 2 winners, Bidabel and Invisibel.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised.
And that was the difficulty. Like, it was, okay, which, honestly, it was likely to be one of those, but I would have liked to playtest them a lot more, but, you know, COVID, and that's the difficulty, that it was, okay, how do we play these things enough? I mean, someone else mentioned that it was obvious, but I don't want it to be, oh my god, I never expected that game to win. I want it to be like the best game wins. So if you know which game is the best, it's probably going to be that one. But then just spending the next 6 months confirming that, yes, it is definitely that one.
Yeah. And it's going to be fun getting to play them more.
Have you played Bidabel and Invisibel?
I've had a look at how they work, like on the floor with myself, where I'm pretending to be multiple people without the cuddly toys that my kid really wants me to use.
It's fair.
He's not that interested in trying them. I don't think it's a game for him.
Have you played Yogi in the Bath yet?
No, see, because we don't. I did get the laminator with the intention of laminating them, so we could play it in the bath.
No, but Yogi, I sent you Yogi.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you've got. They're already waterproof.
I was gonna laminate them, silly me. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Why haven't I done that? How incredibly silly of me. I
Well,
mean,
what? Because you do play games with your child in the bath. Last time we talked
we
about zombie
do.
dice, and my
Yep.
question now is, what's the last game that you played with your child in the bath?
We played a storytelling game with dice. So we all know Rory Story Cube, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's this person who's been on a couple of times called
Mm, I
Rory O'Connor,
yeah.
and then there's this other person who's been on a few times who we quite often raid called Michael Fox, who I think these are people who make games, and yeah, anyway.
I think so. Yeah. I just yeah. I think there's something like that. Just
Anyway,
yeah.
the
Yeah. So
final
we took the story cubes with us to the bathtub.
so you've done some video game marketing for King, like Candy Crush and EA for The Sims. Who did you prefer working for?
Ooh, so for EA, I did play testing and lock testing. And for King Games, I did customer service and also we did play testing. So it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But who did I most prefer? Well, EA gave us like our leader there and like our floor with like 200 something people. We used to have ice cream days, and I mean it gets pretty difficult to beat ice cream day.
That
And
is. What kind
yeah.
of ice cream though?
Also, they would have like this whole big meeting room would just be filled, the whole table with like 20, 30 different types of ice creams. So people would just like charge in there and grab one or two of the ice creams that they wanted. So it was so much fun. Like you knew it was ice cream day because people would be like clattering and like rushing there to get the ice cream that they wanted. And it was just, yeah, they
I
knew
like
how
the
to get
idea,
us
but
excited.
I feel like if I were there, I would always want like a tiny bit of every ice cream, and then I would feel like, okay, is this appropriate? Am I going to be looked down on in the
See?
company because I'm taking all the
No.
ice creams? And then I
So
would be
they had a
feeling,
thing, yeah, they had a thing there. So it was totally okay to just stick around if you had done your task and you weren't going to be late for anything. So I always ensured that when ice cream day was coming up, my mentor would tell me so I could ensure that I was ready for it. So I could just stick around in the room and chat with people and network because you do so much work there you hardly get time to properly network. So ice cream day was like the networking day. So I would just stick around there until everyone had emptied out, like they were done. And then, you can go and like, okay, I'm gonna have this ice cream and this ice cream and this ice cream. And
so on
then
the
you
other
just go to your
downside is,
desk.
what's about people who are like lactose intolerant or trying to
Oh,
cut out sugar?
they would do something for them too. So there would be like there is an ice cream that is literally like frozen carrots, something like carrot juice, and it is amazing. It doesn't sound
Wow,
like it would be,
amazing! That
but
does sound really good. Oh my gosh, I
ah,
definitely want to. Would
I love carrots, and when I discovered that there is a carrot juice ice cream, I'm like, yes. And I gave it to my kid, and he was like, "This is the best ice cream ever!" And I'm like, "You're so my kid." Yes. No, so it's not a sorbet, so it's more like a soft ice. And there's also like oh, what are they called? Like a slushy kind of ice cream on a stick variant with the carrot flavors, carrot juice. So good. Mm,
so yeah,
yeah.
wow. That's just I'm still coming to terms with that. That does sound really.
The company also does a beetroot juice one with licorice, and you'd think that maybe those are a little bit weird flavors, but it so works.
I'm
So works.
all over the weird flavors. The weird flavors are where it's at for me.
Mm,
I would want if someone were, one day to if someone were thinking, hey Bez, I want to make you a treat. What do you want? I'd be like, yeah, make me some weird flavors. That's what I really want. I'll tell you what I
right?
want. What I really, really want. I want some weird flavors.
Weird flavors always. The stranger the better sometimes. And it just yes, beetroot licorice, just yum.
Okay, so How would you compare the board game world to the video game world, and which do you prefer and why?
Okay, so I much prefer the board gaming world because there's so much more connectivity with it. Everyone is helping each other. The community is so nice. While as in the video gaming world, there's so much competition, and you see it a little bit in some people in the board gaming as well. Like they will berate or talk down on all the content creators and say that maybe they are, flagging their diversity flag in order to get more followers. And I see some people do this, and I think it's absolutely horrible. And a lot of those people seem to kind of come in from the gaming aspect, from the video gaming industry, where that is more the norm. And I'm happy that this is luckily not the norm in the board gaming industry anymore. It has been a lot more quicker flushed out from the board gaming scene than it has from the video gaming scene, where it more permeates the scene there. I have worked with video gaming and board gaming, and I'm still continuing to do on both sides. Like I'm doing a meeting with someone at DevCom to talk about accessibility, so I might be able to influence a little bit more on the video gaming side of things in the future. So we'll see if we can sort something out there, which will be nice because I've done a lot of this for the board gaming industry, and it'd be nice to bring some of what I've learned from here into them so that they also can learn from what I've had to, like what I've experienced. And me being deaf, obviously I'm bringing in a little bit of a diversity flag and a new perspective, and that's definitely something the video gaming industry can learn from, more so than the board gaming, because obviously with board games it is always it's in a room with other people, and moving and being deaf playing board games isn't that hard. It is worse being deaf and playing video games because that has to do a lot about sound. So obviously my approach there is going to be benefiting them somewhat more, but definitely learned so much about it from the board gaming industry that I'll be able to bring with me. Well, I think you muted yourself.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was typing. And hello, morning, Ian. We've been going for an hour, and we're still just talking about the questionably quick questions, which is why they're not actually quick. They're questionably quick.
They're very questionable quick.
Yeah, just okay. So let me ask, what's your favorite way to play games digitally?
I really love Tabletop Simulator. It might be because I've done it so much. I've gotten accustomed to how it works. And me and Zate, we play on BGA, and I think that's really neat. There's so much automations, but to me it kind of stops feeling like a board game because everything is done for me. And for me, I kind of feel like I get the appropriate amount of for me. Like, yeah, automations is kind of the appropriate amount of automations is able to be done within Tabletop Simulator without it being too much of it. So there's still a lot of manual. I know. When are we playing? Should we do tonight? I mean, I don't have any meetings tonight, I think. I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure I have no meetings. And I've already done the scheduling for this week, so I could potentially play tonight.
And Ian mentions that Ian's been, so for those who don't know, Ian does demoing for, I was going to say Estevian, but actually for Asmodee UK, but has demoed to deaf folk in British Sign Language.
That's
and
fantastic.
Seat and Dina can sort something out outside the realms of this show. You can, you've got each other's details.
We
do. My final question is, what do you think I should change?
Change? In terms of what? Like what you eat? How much exercise?
I don't know.
Stretching?
It was just a random question to kind of put you on the spot, to be honest.
I think you should be more. What is it called? You should have a lighter intent with your stretching. maybe have like a stretching routine so that you're ensured that you're stretching all the muscles, because it seems like you're always doing the same movement for the stretching, and you're lacking out on leg stretches. That can also get really tired and tight when it comes to sitting down and not moving as much as you should do.
Make sure that I lift my legs and that I stretch those legs. I will do that.
Legs need movement too.
Wow, that's impressive. Oh,
Actually, like, more impressive is that I can, without the headset,
I
can put it behind my head.
Yeah.
But this one is getting stiffer now, like quarantining and not walking as much as I'm used to, like, because I used to do 7 to 12 kilometers a day before I moved, and now I have a bus, so I don't have to walk 12 kilometers with my kid anymore, and I'm just not walking as much as I used to do, so I'm getting stiffer as well.
Okay, so now I will say to people, thank you, like, keep commenting, asking questions, fun, like, follow all that stuff, and let's talk about recent life, because I think it was August, episode 98, that you first came, and here we are, almost 200 episodes later, and so, yeah, how has life been for you in the past 6 months? What have been some not so recent highlights?
Highlights. Okay, so I was contacted by a Kalewala group here, which basically means gaming. A group here in Finland.
Love to be in.
That's terrible. Whew. Okay.
But yeah, speedy recovery and lots of love.
Speedy recovery, yeah. Remember to keep it lifted.
I'm sure Ian's, on top of everything. Ian's a great person. I met them, I think last time we saw each other, would it have been at Settlers? I think it would have been at Settlers. If it was probably shortly after Tabletop Scotland. No, it can't be that. Yeah, was it that long ago? Tabletop Scotland in 2019, I want to say. Yeah, that would actually make sense, because after that, I don't think Ian was at Glasgow, and then there wasn't any big conventions in the UK since then, because, hey. Anyway, sorry, that's just... But yeah, so we were talking about the past...
Oh, yes. 6 months. So I was contacted by a group here in Finland and requested whether or not I could speak a little bit about accessibility in terms of game design. And these are people who come from the video gaming industry. The group is called BBBB, and they do a course related to the university, which is basically teaching you how to make video games. And they do a lot of game design. So I jumped on it, and I got to do an hour or so chat about how people can get better at doing accessibility in terms of their game design while working on the game, instead of thinking about accessibility after the fact, when they're trying to pitch it and do marketing for it, and then being told that you need to change this and this and this. So how can you design better with accessibility in mind? And I also got to talk a little bit about what they were calling harness your success on the road, something. They had a fancy title for it. I cannot remember. It sounded cool, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" Like, I'm not sure. Like, that title does not sound like something I can do. But it was basically me just talking about like importance of talking about your game and while developing it, and not after you've made the game. That there is no such thing as too early, but there's only too late. That obviously is me repeating a lot of the things that I've said here on the streams that we've done in terms of marketing, but also it was nice to getting it out to the video gaming industry for those who are interested in learning to become designers themselves. And I did a roundtable talk with We Love Games about soft skills and just being nice to people and the challenges that we've met in terms of working remotely. So that's been really exciting. So that's been some of my yeah, 6 past months highlights, and also moving into this space, which is airier and bigger than what I used to have, and also in a new town, which obviously brings us some challenges, but it is less snow here, they say, but I haven't really seen any much of that because there's a lot of snow outside. It's also equally cold here, even though it's a lot further south, so it technically should be warmer. But yes.
So, quick hello to people. We are just chatting to Dina for anyone who's unaware. And yeah, if you have any questions, keep it, light. But we are now going to get into the main topic. We're going to reach back into your past. We're going to talk about your memories and think about what started you off, what made you the person you are. So for those who don't know, you can check lots of the information, but just to reiterate, Dina is a marketer, playtester, game designer, solo mode designer, costume designer.
I'm a hot potato.
You are a hot potato. And so
a little bit of everything. I'm a compulsive learner.
So I'm going to assume, Harry and Ulf, that you're trolling, but if you're not, then get in touch tomorrow and I'll sort things out. But for now, what are your earliest memories, Dina?
Earliest memory is me trying to reach up to the handle of a white door, and upon opening said door, seeing a row of planks of untreated wood.
Wow. So, how was your childhood?
Turbulent, I think we can say it, that I was sent to an orphanage for finding fostering when I was 3, together with most of my siblings. We were 5 siblings, 2 of which stayed with my dad after we were sent to find a fostering home. We stayed there for about a year before we had a placement. So a lot of my early childhood was me trying to help my little brother, who was 2 years younger than me, just sort of deal with all the changes and trying to be there for him as much as I could. As much as a 3-year-old can. Yeah.
Were games a big part of your childhood growing up, do you think?
No, games was not a big part at all. We didn't really, like, when we got to the foster, I can't actually remember us playing any games at the orphanage. And the foster home didn't really play a lot of games either. Like, I remember a couple of times that we would play like the classics, like Ludo, and my biological grandma had a partner who used to be like a chess champion, so he taught me chess, and I must have been like 8 at this point when I started playing chess with him, but there was no one else who played games with me, so I was quite a lonely child. Like I stuck mostly for myself. Like I was special. Being a foster child and the only one in a really small village, so that made me special. And I have ADHD, so I talk a lot. So I used to just hang around with my books, reading a lot. For me, it was always just about the stories that was within the cover of a book. And I didn't really discover games until I moved for myself when I got emancipated when I was 14.
Let's talk a wee bit about screen time, because I know that you are really big on minimizing screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this a big part of your belief, and where did it come from?
So where we grew up basically like with only one TV channel. and a lot of forced outdoor time while I was just hiding in the dark to read my books. But we did a lot of playing and a lot of hands-on approach to a lot of things. Like they taught me how to actually change my own tires, even though I never have any aspirations of learning how to drive. At least I can change tires and I can get a car out. If you're stuck in a ditch in the snow, I know how to do that. So we had a lot of, like hands-on experience. Well, I grew up on a farm, so I've seen animals getting butchered and the whole cycle of life, which is why I became a vegetarian. But I now that I'm older, I do appreciate the things that it did give me. Like I can fix my own things, and I can, I see the cycle and I understand it because I've been a part of it. So I really appreciated that, even though for me books was the main primary escape from this world, because I didn't like the people, but I liked what they were doing. So I want to provide that for my child as well, and also for myself with having ADHD. I can get quite easily overstimulated, and if I'm overstimulated, I'm not the best person. So just kind of sticking with that, with the potential of my child also having ADHD, because genetics is a role of percentage chances. So there's a chance that he might also have it. So I just want to give him the tools that he needs in order to be able to deal with it a lot easier than I did, because I didn't have the tools. I had to find them myself. And I've seen that this way of living is something that actually benefits you in the long run.
100%. And I would like to get a little bit more into that. And what are some of the things that you would say, this is what's important to me? We were actually talking about values shortly before the show, where I've written it up recently, and one of the questions I was going to ask you after the show was, hey, do you think I should start sharing these publicly? I mean, you can tell me on screen, but if you think that's fit for public consumption, so to speak. But
yeah, some of those could be for public consumption, with a rewrite in terms of it being, pillars for your brand marketing, which we talked about earlier on another stream that we've done. But some of them are very personal, and I don't think they have much to do about being out in the public. So some of them definitely, yeah, but maybe not.
I mean, isn't there? I mean, from a holistic point of view, isn't everything that we do, even if it is very personal, going to affect the way we deal with everyone else? Isn't it going to seep into our business relationships, into our craft, into the media that we create?
It is true, yeah. In the whole grand big scheme of things, I do marketing because I was a lonely child, and I want to have people to talk to, and marketing is a great way to have a lot of people to talk to. If you're really looking at the whole, the big scope of things, it is all connected, obviously. The question is, do you feel like that connectivity, it should be as easily accessible to everyone, or is it something where you also want to screen some of it for yourself and keep something private? Like, how much of you do you have the energy to put out there all the time?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, relating to this, if any of these questions do get too personal, of course, do tell me to, hey, I'd rather not talk about that or whatever. But what are some of the values that you're willing to share that you feel like make up who you are?
That's such a great picture. What are the values that make up me? I love finding people who need something I can give. I love being able to give to people what they need, or maybe also what they don't know that they need yet. And this is something that I kind of, in a way, I kind of crave, because it's such a big part of me, with me having grown up very much alone, to find a village, and I want to ensure that I'm providing value in order to remain in this village. And I have this weird notion that somehow I'm not always good enough to be a part of this village because, I was given away by my own parents. So how could I be good enough for anyone else? But I try really hard to work away from this rejection sensitivity dysphoria that I do have, and I am aware of it. So it's something I'm continuously working on. So I'm doing these streams, which I'm kind of also finding very therapeutic, because I get to talk about something that I'm passionate about and something I know something about, while also getting the validation that others feel like I am providing not just the value, but also that I do know what I'm talking about. And it's making it easier for me to actually believe that I do know what I am talking about, because I get this good feedback loop with I have something to tell, so I'm providing value. I get feedback that yes, this was valuable and this was useful for us. Tell us more, and then you ask me to come back and we dig deeper into things, and I keep finding that I do actually have more to talk about these things. So it does great for my self-esteem to be in the board gaming space and do game design. Well, as when I was in the role playing, I had a partner of mine who said that, why is your game any special and why should anyone want to play it? And that was really difficult for me to hear because I was so proud of something I'd created. While here, whenever I talk about something that I'm excited about, people actually stop to listen because I have become to be, I've become a person in the space and the scene that people want to listen to because I know what I'm doing. And I love that you're actually listening and we are all providing values to each other's lives.
And it's difficult because that question of why is this game special and why should anyone want to play it? It is a reasonable question if you are mass producing the game.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get it out there, but sometimes it's just say, well,
I made this because it was fun for me. I wanted to make something. Yeah, and this was on my first game too, so it was me taking up a role-playing game challenge to write a game within a week, like a game jam, just with indie games, and it has no dice, no rules, and it's all free form, so it's more like a theater exercise. And I had this great idea of what I wanted to do. And I start writing it down, and then I get hit with that as the first, like, oh, look, I made a thing. And they're like, why should anyone want to play that? It's very demotivating. And now that I've kind of stepped into the board gaming industry and I found kind of myself in a sense, like maybe I always belonged in here, and my journey helped me to belong in this board gaming industry more than the TTRPG. Because now I'm actually, I look at games and I see ways to use what is already there to create solo modes or two-player modes for some of the games that I looked at, and I'm able to, like, quite easily with my playtesting background, finding the small gaps that might otherwise be overlooked, and it just feels like all the things that I've learned up until now is just really benefiting me to be taking the space that I am in this scene. So it's been a wonderful experience for me. And then maybe one day when I do get to finish my role-playing game, it will be so much better because I have this supportive environment around me to flourish, instead of having 2 or 3 people in Norway from the indie gaming industry there who really believes that I can do great things if I'm just provided with the support, but not being able to provide me with the support because it is very cliquey environment. And here it is not so much so.
It's all comes. like it's difficult, and I don't want to dismiss, one other environment just because of one
One
experience,
person's
but for
experience.
sure, there's a lot to be said for just being aware when you're giving feedback. Is this feedback actually wanted? Is
it needed? What is the intent of, like, do they even want feedback? What is the type of feedback they're wanting? And just being upfront about that in the beginning can save people a lot of heartaches.
Yeah, if you're making something for a game jam, if it's like at that first point, especially if it's your first game, just to say, hey, I made this game. And it's like, oh, cool. And maybe we don't need to nail into, well, why did you bother making it? Asking the person to say, well, because I was intellectually curious about the process of making a game and I wanted to experience that. Yeah, sure, I can give that answer now, but that's after many years of having pondered the possible reasons.
Exactly.
And I would like to, maybe, okay, you've got some stock answers, and I will be getting up in just a minute to do some side-to-side stretching, apparently. But, yeah, and I'll take on what you said and
really work with the muscles. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's like if someone made a thing and then it's like, okay, I just made a game for a game jam. Well, what are you going to say to them? Whereas if it's, hey, I'm pitching this to Ravensburger, at that point, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's appropriate for me to start suggesting things and say, okay, you know what, maybe this number should be this way. And, like the other day, Nicholas popped in and I said, hey, do you want, I think it was yesterday, do you want feedback? And so I gave a couple of ill-considered opinions. I mean, I used the word ill-considered very deliberately because it was just kind of first thoughts, okay, this is what I would do, having, played it once, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, like, my first game was made when I was like 19 and played games then since I was 14. So I was still really new in the whole I'm playing games to I am making games. But now, like, goodness, now how many years later, let's just say, like, 10 years later, a decade later, I've learned so much, and and then I am able to say, like, yeah, because I was intellectually curious about the process of making a game and seeing if my brain could actually spew out something within a week. As having ADHD, I'm used to getting crazy ideas all the time, but not necessarily being able to complete all of them. So I'll get really great ideas that, like, this could be a game, this could be a game. And I have too many of them, so I keep, stashing them into my mental workload file of potential games I might one day make, which is probably never going to happen. But yeah, like, it takes time to find those answers, and sometimes it's just because that is not a way of us to think about games. Like, why do we really make games? And the answer to that, it can be very personal and very variable depending on why, like, what got us, like, what was the initial spark that made us wanting to make a game. Was it just for a game jam? Then the reasoning is completely different.
I think this central question of, like, what are you doing, what do you want to do, and why, like, these are big questions. But, like, whether it's making a game, like, who is this for, why are you doing it, and these are things that it's absolutely worth doing. But it's kind of like saying it's also the way you say it, because there can be an assumption, and maybe it's a wrong assumption, because if someone says, oh, I made this game, well, why would anyone be interested? If you say, that's kind of a bit, but if someone brings a game to a playtest and then they say, oh, it's like, okay, well, why are you doing this? Who is it for? Is it for yourself, or is it for... And I try to, when I'm asking difficult questions, this is a thing that I've learned to do, to sometimes offer a couple of possibilities to say, well, is it just because you wanted to do it? Is it for some friends? Or are you planning to, do you really want it to sell big numbers, or do you want it to just be on one shop somewhere? Because those are all very different things. And if someone's just like, okay, I'd be happy for it to be bought by someone from a shop somewhere, then I'd be like, okay, well, maybe doing a small print run of 500 is reasonable. Whereas if it's like, okay, I want to sell to make a living, well, that's a possibility. And hello, Matthew, it is lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. But like, yeah, if I want to make a game that's going to sell, a large number and make a decent income, the way I approach that is going to be very different from making a game that we're just going to play on here. And I know it's literally impossible to publish it because there are no components in the game. Yeah, so we talked about you getting in through board gaming via the RPG thing. Do you feel like that story has been sufficiently covered?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I'm a serial monogamist, right? So it started with, you date someone in the RPG scene, and then you start dating someone who's into video games, and then you find someone who does board games, and then you kind of slide with them. No.
Wait, so you're telling me that the old slightly sexist trope of, oh, you're playing video games or tabletop RPGs because your boyfriend's into it was actually true of you?
Well, I started on my own, but I delved deeper into them because of the guys or people that I was dating. My best role-playing games were made together with this girl that I was dating, and she was fabulous, and she loved my games. She's great at giving feedback, and I miss her very much for that. And some of the guys were absolute jerks when it came to me making games, but really much loved bringing me as their +1 player to the table. So it's been ups and downs, obviously, in terms of relationships within the different scenes, but I love the experiences and all the people that I met along the way.
I mean, that seems like a red flag if someone's kind of knocking you down when you're trying to create something.
I left very soon after that.
What do you look for in again, feel free to say skip question, or what do you look for in a romantic partner? What are some things that are red flags for you? What are things that are essential? It's interesting to talk about flags, because I think it's worth talking to other people. If you have you considered these things? So I like hearing other people.
That's a really good question, because I'm still trying to figure it out for myself. Like, what is red flags? Clearly, I've dated a lot of people who are emotionally unavailable, so there's obviously something the cosmos is trying to tell me, like, hey, Dina, maybe you should start actually seeing this as a red flag. And I'm like completely oblivious to, like, what red flag? I'm sure they are lovely people. They just didn't mean that. Maybe they didn't have their coffee yet. And I'm very quick to give people excuses for their red flag behavior, which is terrible. But it is only like when it is with me. If they're jerks to everyone else, I'm like, hey, that's not cool. And for some reason, I accept it when it's just me. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. My reason, like my partner at the moment is great. Like, he is emotionally available, which is fantastic. I'm trying really hard not to give too much of myself, because I am very, like, I love people. I love to give. My love language is to give things, be it, a massage or opportunities, networking for them, whatever it is that they could possibly want me to give, I will find a way to give it. Yeah, I love giving favors. I love trading favors too. So it's nice when I get favors back. Yeah, so still trying to figure out how the heck did I get married to such a jerk. And where did we go wrong? Like, I made a kid with this person, so clearly I must have been completely infatuated, or at least liked them enough to create a child. So yeah, trying to figure that one out. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, it's definitely a work in progress for everyone, I think, going through this process and working out what's okay, what's tolerable.
Yeah. And I think I've gotten a lot better lately to actually have that conversation with myself, like what do I find acceptable in a relationship? And that's something that I've kind of never thought that I could ask, like just what like I would in a work situation. What is companies or games that I would be willing to work with? Now that I'm doing freelance, I can actually give myself that question, and I can be a little bit more selective about who I choose to work with, because it everyone who comes with a paycheck isn't necessarily someone I should work with. And I'm trying to be better at asking myself those questions when it comes to working relationships. And it kind of also seeps into my personal life, which I think is great, because I have all these questions I put on my fridge to like that they are present in my life. Like, these are things you should always ask yourself, before you work with someone or before you're dating them. And I've gotten the past few years after my divorce, gotten a lot better at being able to answer those questions and putting barriers where those are needed, and saying no when I shouldn't say yes, even though it feels good to say yes to people all the time. I cannot, because mental health is important too.
Yeah, for sure. I've realized it's so important to give yourself the time and to be mindful of your own limitations, I think.
Yeah. My little kid and his digger.
Yeah.
I love that. He spent 3 days shoveling up those black little markers for the goal game. He still doesn't want to play goal with me, but he sure loves shoveling them. They are coal, so the story is the white ones are pebbles, so that's the construction site. The black ones are coal, and they need to go to the train so they can fuel the train so the trains can go. Because apparently all his trains are steam trains at the moment. And I'm like trying to explain to him how all the steam trains are polluting the air, so we have to air out the flats. So now he will tell me to open the windows because the steam trains are gonna go, which is fantastic. Teaching the kid about how the world works and pollution, and in an age-appropriate manner. And he's getting
You
some of it.
are a big advocate for the Montessori method of education.
Absolutely,
We've
yes.
touched upon this before, but could you go into it a wee bit
Okay.
more?
So in Montessori parenting, one of the primary cornerstones of it is to observe the child and see what the child is asking for. Because obviously they're not going to ask with words like, "Hey, can I have that lollipop?" They're not. They're gonna, like, their behavior is gonna be able to tell you something. So by casting aside what you're feeling like your child is, and just looking at them. So I make a lot of notes, like as you've seen, I have a lot of notebooks on my desk because I keep pulling out notebooks every time I'm on the stream here. And I make notes of what it seems like, what is he drawn to, what does he talk about, what does it seem like his body needs him to do. And then I try my best to prepare the environment, which is the other thing in Montessori, to prepare the environment so that he can be himself as much as is possible. Because obviously reckless behavior is still obviously a no-no. You should be able to do it in a safely manner, because I actually want the kid to grow up. So it has to be safe. So we talk a lot about safety around the things when he wants to be reckless, because he should be able to do some reckless things, but in an environment that is prepared for said reckless behavior. So we might, pull out the mattress and he can be jumping around from the couch we make sure there's no hard corners for him to bump into, so preparing the environment. A part of that is to give him opportunities to challenge himself in the things that he's interested in. So he's really interested in puzzles. So I provide him with enough puzzles on a shelf so he can, whenever he feels like it and he has this urge to do a puzzle and he needs the intellectual stimulation, he can just pull out and I know what's going to happen. We sit down maybe together or he does it alone. He will tell me if he needs me, which is great because then I can do other things like making food, make a cup of tea, and he will tell me when I am needed and when he wants to participate with something with me. So then we might sit down and do a puzzle together, or he require further stimulation, which is then board games, and he will tell me what sort of game he wants. So he's really into, matching in terms of Carcassonne and then the movements and the flow of like trying to understand how you're counting points in Carcassonne at the moment. He's really into counting, and he can up to like 1 to 20 with the numbers in a sequence in 3 languages. So he does it in English, Finnish, and Norwegian.
Nice.
And now he's trying to understand how to like add and subtract. Like I have 2 plus 1 on the dice means we have 3. So he's getting it on the dice, but he's not getting it on the number part yet. So that is something that he's really into learning at the moment. So I'm trying to provide him with opportunities where that is something that we can practice. So I swap his dice out for ones that has numbers, because we have that here, so that this is something he can do. So then he knows. Same with me providing him with the polyomino games, is because polyomino is great for spatial awareness, which helps them being more secure in who and what they are. So when it comes to moving, it has to do with spatial awareness and being aware of how big you are in the space of other things. But also, it gives them great concept and early learning opportunities for math later. So it is all connected. You break down the task that a child needs to learn into the smallest bits possible, and you see how can we progress into this, like what in our natural environment can provide him with the challenges that he wants and needs, and then making sure that those exist. So he likes to cut, which is obviously fine motorics. So we have a crafting station. Yeah, like with the scissors. Like he cut my hair a couple of weeks ago. So we have a crafting station with scissors and paper. And then we have like gluing. So it's a lot of fine motorics they get to practice. And he has a little bead table and stuff like that. Just providing him with what he needs for his next stage of interests.
But it feels like with the Montessori methods, there's a lot of creativity and work required from the guardian or parents or educator, whoever the educator is.
Yeah. It obviously does require the extra, awareness to cast aside your own ego and just let the child be their own individual as early as possible. And I think it really helps them be having, a lot more self-confidence in their ability to do things. I see how my child is moving around with other kids, and he's very firm in who he is, and he's very proud of himself, and he's not afraid to show it. And I love that for him. I think it's fantastic. While some of the kids that he's playing with is less more so, because they are, some of them get told a lot of no's, and that is something we try to shy away from a lot here. Instead of saying just no, I give them a reason, like it's not safe, it's not possible right now, it's actually bedtime, or it's in the middle of the night, which is in our case the usual. And then we try to make the opportunity arise the day later or as soon as possible. Maybe not at 4 a.m.
You can't be always saying yes, even to your child, even if it's like, hey, you want to do lots of exercise? Well, that's great, but maybe 3 o'clock in the morning might not be the best time for that.
Yeah, so then I say, let's do it when it's awakening time. And then he usually, he knows how it goes. So we go to bed, he sleeps for a little bit, and we say in a bit and it will be a morning. That is like how he perceives sleeping. In a bit it will be a morning, and then we can do it. And then he's like, okay. And then we do that. And then in the morning comes and the sun starts shining and we pull out mattresses and cushions and he gets to do his big exercises.
Would you describe yourself as a proud and happy parent?
Definitely proud. Yes. I was feeling a lot of shame for being proud for my kid because I feel like the way I was doing pride is like pride is not really a nice feeling in a way. It can come off as a bit ugly, I think. But I am absolutely proud of how he has progressed, not for what I have done, but proud because he is so much himself. I see how he has grown as an individual, and I'm very happy that I have been able to provide him with the opportunities to get him, to help him get where he is. It's not so much pride for what I've done, but it's more, like I'm really proud of you as a human being. I very early on tried to separate my success for the child, the attachment. Because I don't want him to be a mini me. Like him loving board games is awesome, and I think that comes natural from having two parents who play board games. Not that I've ever tried to push him to playing board games. He came to me asking. So I've always allowed him to be his own individual and play trains as much as he wants because he loves trains. Even though I think it can get really boring. For me, it's not the most fun I have.
It sounds, I don't know. It sounds like, obviously, I don't want to undermine the amount of work or the amount of potential intellectual boredom that you can get as an adult when taking care of children, and it's really weird because I found myself they're a bit far away now. They're based in some parts of Germany, but I have two little nibblings, so I used to spend days taking care of. And it would be basically just me and them for maybe 12 hours or whatever. And then someone comes back and it's okay, yeah. And it's like, wow, I didn't actually do that much exercise, but I'm so physically exhausted just moving here. Okay, moving over. Okay, you know what I mean? And
there's so many rules to engaging with children, though. Like they come with their own set of rules. Like this is okay, this is not okay, and they will tell you. And then you kind of have to mentally remember all the little quirks that they have. I used to watch my nieces when they were small. And they used to do like this thing that you had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and morning had to be like instant play. And they would actually jump on top of me to get me up in the morning. So luckily I had that experience before I had a kid. So now when my kid wakes me up, I'm like, my brain is always like, okay, yes, I know what's gonna happen now. But yeah, kids are crazy little things. You're muted.
It's been lovely having you on. Hold on, let me plug myself in. Oh no. Sorry, I see that. I need to plug myself in. It's been lovely having you on, and I look forward to having you on many more times in the future, hopefully. Afterwards, we can talk about when you next want to come on and future stuff. But it is time to start just recapping, thinking about everything that we talked about. And you know what? I don't normally do this, but I am going to, so we talked about so much, not just today. We've talked about marketing and community building. And we've talked about, social media and marketing, and we've talked about values and all sorts of things. And
oh wow, look at that one. Look at my hair, it's doing this crazy thing, being all slick on the side and stuff.
On with us a wee bit, parts of the video where we're a wee bit bigger. Oh, where is it not? There we go.
My cleavage is like the neckline is a lot lower than I felt like it was in real life. That looks damn sexy. Am I allowed to say that about myself? I love that top. It looks great. Who knows? Let's go with it.
I'm not going to stop you from saying things about yourself. It has been lovely having you on every time. Thank you for bringing us all this information about marketing. Thank you for bringing your energy. And today, specifically, now, what have we been talking about? And you have been on in the past 100 episodes as well, but I decided I'm not going to show the past 100 episodes because I'm going to watch them all next week anyway. So, recap.
Oh, did that freeze? Did I freeze?
I'm
Oh.
doing a I can't. There's some.
Oh, alien duck. Woo, it's just me now. Welcome to, what was it? Dear Dina. What did we call it? So it says, Dear Dina's doing dramatics. Ooh. Oh. See, I did my highlighter a little bit different today. Oh no! So Baz's computer crashed, so don't worry everyone. Baz will be back with her fabulous self. I will just take a little moment. And in the meantime, I am going to fill the time. What are we gonna fill the time with, you might say? That's a great question. Four weird sisters. Oh, is this right? Is this your thing where you're doing crafting, right? Yeah, they do crafting. I think everyone should check that one out. I love good crafting. I actually have a bit of crafting. Is it in this drawer? Oh yeah, my working folder. See? Here I'm currently making a mushroom for my little child. So we're gonna make a mushroom village because a friend of mine, Amon Anderson, is coming out with a board game later this year, and it has like some gnomes thing going on. And I thought it would be fun if I had a little mushroom village to put his board game in once it comes out and then take pictures. But embroidering mushrooms takes forever. And he doesn't know I'm doing this. So if he's watching, you know, I'm kind of ruining a surprise. So embroidering mushrooms takes forever. So I'm starting now. So I'm like early on. I have like several, like I'm doing shoes, slippers for a little girl that I know because she loves pink and laces. And my kid wants like a dress with fluffies. So I got some tutus. I'm going to do that. But yeah, crafting, board game related crafting. I am currently making a costume out of a card game that is going to come out later this year. And I'm going to do my makeup, and we're going to do like a morphing video sequence for the Kickstarter that is going to be completely surprise for everybody. And I'm super excited about it because I've been working on this secretly and trying not to take pictures for my Instagram and tell people about it because it's going to be a surprise. And I usually ruin my own surprises. And Baz is back. Welcome, Baz.
Thank you very much for filling in time. I saw, yeah, computers slowing down. I might have just had too much stuff open at once. I think I do. I should probably, try and close down all the tabs if I can before starting my streams in future. But anyway, we can talk again about what we're looking forward to, but we have talked about so much about Dina. We've talked about pretending to be cats inspired by Kitty Cataclysm. We've talked about how Dina is like a hot potato. We've talked about being adaptable, about meeting neighbors, about the joys of parenthood and getting up really early in the morning. We've talked about card making, about corduroy pants, about RPGs, about balancing games, about arts, the associations, familiarity, and maybe at some point in the future we should really just maybe try and get a few people, have a roundtable chats about some art, maybe talk a wee bit about how things have changed during COVID, not just marketing, but I think, it's been long enough that hopefully it's no longer a sore spot, and I will say this is about that, how things have changed. I just don't want to... A bit fewer than that, Cian. We talked about ice cream day and carrots ice cream. That sounds amazing. We talked about video games versus board games, about self-doubts, about someone saying, oh, who's this game? Why is this game special? Why would anyone want to play it? Which is a very reasonable question if it's, hey, I'm pitching it to you as a publisher, but context is everything. Not everyone, sometimes it's just, hey, look at this cool thing I made. It's all about the context, about red flags in dating, about having to have barriers, about other people shouldn't be allowed to treat you any worse than you would allow them to treat other people, about sometimes saying no, about Montessori, about safe spaces for recklessness, about observing the child to discover what they need, about making things available. And then I had a wee crash when I was about to start recapping. And
I started talking about crafting related board game things that I'm doing. Yes. And now it's all a secret and Buzz doesn't know, which is brilliant. And just too bad I haven't had a crafting related, Buzz related project yet. But that should come. Maybe I should
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you don't want me to listen?
Oh, I'm saying you can perfectly fine listen because I didn't spill any beans about, or didn't spill the tea about anything related to your projects.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Those shall remain a mystery.
So, wow. And, yeah, very crafty, says Ian. I saw in Twitch saying something, well, we'll cover the what are we looking forward to. If we want to find me, then I am, of course, stuffbybez.com, stuffbybez.com, twitter.com/stuffbybez, instagram.com/stuffbybez, twitch.tv/stuffbybez, youtube.com/stuffbybez for the old episodes. I am streaming 10 a.m. UK time every day for the next week. And then next Friday in 8 days' time, I won't be streaming. Remember that. I'm not streaming in 8 days' time. I mean, I don't think there's many people who would have to tell people, hey, remember, I'm not streaming on that day. But I will not be streaming. And just to clarify, check out my website there, which will tell you what I'm doing. And then the following week, I'm going to have a 3-day break. I've just decided I'm going to have it's not a very long break, but I think it's going to allow me to recharge. I'll talk about that on episode 300. And yeah, where do you like to be found, Dina?
Twitter, Instagram is a great ways to find me and talk to me. Facebook, if you bump into me in a group, it's a fantastic way to reach out. If you are so inclined to having a business relationship with me, connect with me on LinkedIn. I hear it's all the rave nowadays. And for people who are wanting to have me work for them, Hero Time Management, as a manufacturer, has me listed as what I do. They're nice, very nice of them to do that. Telling them more about my rates and how to best reach out to me to work with me, or have me work for you, whichever way it is. It's supposed to be symbiotic. Otherwise, I'm everywhere. I'm also on TikTok, where I show things that has to do about board games.
Reminds me to pop it in before 2 weeks' time, so I can add it to the links.
Oh yeah, I should.
But
do that.
I want to say thank you, everyone who's been watching in a respectful manner and contributing to some, lovely chats. There's been a lot of lovely chats, and of course, I want to give a massive thank you to this person who is here. Dina. Wait, are we going to do the Pinky Connect? Let's.
Ooh.
There we go. There. Beep, 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 beep. So, power.
I've never done that before.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dina. You have been amazing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to my lovely moderators. You are, you know what? Not thank you to literally everyone. I'm not going to name names. There are some people I won't thank, but thank you to everyone.
You know who you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, honestly, lots of love. And it's the final section. It's the final section. Over to you. What are you up to? You can share anything you want to. So is there something that you're looking forward to? Is there something that you want to achieve today? Is there something exciting or even boring? Boring stuff is permissible. If it's serious or even if it's completely frivolous, either way, let me know something about what you're up to, only if you want to share. And so I am going to share a couple of things. I've got an exciting business meeting later today in less than an hour, so I'm excited for that. And apart from that, I'm going to do wee bits of reading. I might sit down and read Senso. I'm really looking forward to it. Genuinely, Usagi or Jimbo. I'm not sponsored by them, but if Stan Sakai wanted to, you know what? If I could one day reach out to Stan Sakai and make a board game based on Usagi Yojimbo, I have no idea what kind of game I would make. I should just make something and then just pitch it to Stan Sakai. What do you think?
I think you should just tweet it. Hey, how about we make a board game and just start at them and see what happens?
I don't know if Stan's even.
If not, I will. You can tweet it and then I will send them a link. Hey guys, did you know about this? I'm a huge fan of your work. Like, here's a link. Someone wants to make a game with you. You should do it, and then add some, public pressure. I mean,
I'm
what's
probably
the
not going to add loads of public pressure, but I like Alex's thinking. You know what?
Just ignore it, right? That's kind of like the words.
I will ponder it for a wee bit. It's like, if I were to make a game, what would it be all about? Maybe not today, because I've got to eat something. I've got to get ready for my meeting. I've got some other work to do. Today's it's an even number, so I'm going to do more drawing
letters.
So this is where I'm up to so far.
I've been loving seeing these.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I very much look forward to them. And then I show it to my kid and I tell him to make what is this letter? What is this letter?
Strike while the iron is hot. But I also need to get ready for my Ravensburger thing and my meat. Anyways, I need to eat. But what are you up to, Dina?
Okay, so right after this, I'm going to jump on a bus and catch my kid back home, because that is whoosh, and a run. They do like the
child
door
over shoulder.
pickup thing at the kindergarten, which I think is super cool. So they dress him and they have him ready, and then they kind of launch him out the door. More like they open the door and he runs out, and then I have to chase him because he's trying to go down the hill faster than me. So we have a little, we will have a race. And he always wins because that is the rules of the game, and then he gets to slide down the really big pile of snow, which is fun, and then he'll tell me all about his day, usually involving tigers and sleeping dragons, or how he thinks that horses should lay eggs instead of having live birth because he thinks eggs are more interesting, which was what we were doing yesterday. And then after that, when he goes to sleep, I am going to work on a press release, and I'm also doing a lot of work in terms of the con that I'm making. I should be getting a brochure today so that I can finally start telling more people about what is happening up with the MeeBubCon for May. That is going to be a part of my 33rd birthday celebration with a 3-day con for game designers and gamers alike to gather in a whole weekend and play games together with me in virtual space for my birthday. So I'm excited about that.
I noticed Alex saying it takes about 20 seconds to tweet at someone.
Yeah.
Although Hal has said it takes me about an hour. I've got to write and delete like 15 drafts first. But you know what? Stan Sakai is on Twitter. I was already following them, although I didn't see much of those things. You know what? Tweet. Whilst everyone else, and I heard that Xate mentioned something, but I can't put it up on screen because Xate needs to either copy paste it so I can put it up on screen. Something about the Weird Sisters streaming on Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time, something like that.
Saturday,
do you have it on your
7
screen?
p.m. CET. Yeah.
Oh, CET. So that would be 6 p.m. UK time. Okay. So definitely check that out. The flyer is on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let me check you on Twitter. Twitter.com/willcook4games. And
thanks most of all to Bez for being the best guest on Dina's devilish delectable dialogue. That was brilliant. Yeah. Oh, you guys are the best.
Okay, so yeah, a shout out to Xate, one of the best moderators that anyone can ask for. Check them out. Check her out. And so, yeah, if you in the comments want to share anything and you've not already shared it, then please let me know. If you do want to check out my future streams, then let me very quickly have a look. Tomorrow is Friendly Friday Forum. Saturday, I'm meeting Anna Vassenberg from Dice Tower and Budget Spelling. Sunday, I am reviewing some Board Game Arena games. Saturday, I'm discussing Board Game Arena with one of the 3 main people who work there, which is quite exciting. In the wake of the Asmodee thing. Tuesday, I am discussing playtesting with Alan Paul, Matthew Dunstan, Rita Modal, playing Balanceable later in the evening. Wednesday, I'm meeting Paul Stapleton, and then Thursday is the 300th episode. And then Friday the 26th, if you check that link, it will say no show today, and it will be super clear. So when it says no show today, there is definitely no show on that day. So don't come here expecting a show, just to make that clear.
See, I kind of want to go and actually do a Twitch for that day because there is no best stream, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, watch me sort my kids' puzzles for like an hour.
Yeah, do it. Like, do it at if you say that you're going to do it, I'll set my Twitch to automatically host you.
I could do that. Yeah, I mean, if people think that I should be doing a stream for the day when Buzz isn't there, just write it down, and if 2 people does say, I'll use the same rule as Beth does. If 2 people say that they want it to happen, then I will do it. Then
I
there will be
I want it to happen. Okay, I don't know if I can. I would definitely pop in for a bit of it. So yeah, if you want this to happen, if you want Dina to pick up the slack and stream at 10 a.m. UK time on Friday the 26th, then let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
So
I will make it happen. I'll make it interesting too. I'll
ooh,
come up with something. Maybe I'll have a, like I'll show you some of the costumes I'm working on that are board game related, or I will literally sort the puzzles for my kid or set up the shelf for a play session or something.
I would certainly work and lurk for that, says Alex. So there you go. You've got one person.
That's one.
So we need a second person if this is going to happen. And of course, if you feel like any of this stuff is interesting, whether it's Xate's thing or any of my streams, like honestly, I think that the one on Monday, I hope that a lot of people tune into that because that's going to be a big thing. I've arranged a few questions. I'm going to give it so we shout out on various places. But yeah, definitely check in. Hopefully the language barrier won't be too much because Ian Paravel is French, but and my French isn't good enough. Your French isn't good enough, but I will repeat things, and Ian does know that it's a thing. But Gabba, hey, yeah, I think Ian's saying Ian would wait. So just to clarify, this would only be on Twitch. This would not be on Facebook.
That would only be on Twitch. Just
So, if you, speaking of Twitch, and I have a meeting in 49 minutes now, I've got a wee thing reminding me, and you've got to head off in a tiny bit. So, speaking of Twitch, if you are on Twitch, one thing that happens is that at the end of a stream, sometimes the person looks to see, hey, who else is streaming today? And apparently, I don't know if this is genuinely happening because sometimes Idol Michael doesn't update the name of the stream. But Idol Michael Fox from Hub Games, is talking about designing a game show. Oh my god, but I'm so keen to check out Duke Queen. Oh, you know what? If you want to check out Idol Michael, go and do that, but just so that I can listen along, so that I won't be too I'm going to but yeah, I really want to know, but I'm going to do Raid Duke Queen because then I can just have that on more in the background. This is a musician who is doing looping and stuff. So I'm going to paste that in. If you want to join in with that, then let me do the Raid, please copy paste all or parts of that. And that brings us to the end of the show. Do you have anything that you want to say? We needed one more person to make Dina's stream happen. So Xate, if you want Dina to stream on Friday, do I count it? Should I mention it? And yeah, if you tweet about it, I'll retweet you, and then we'll get people liking your tweets. Let's make it happen. I mean, come on.
You'll be my first Twitch ever. Fly to your meeting.
Ian said, I'm not sure whether the applied to Dina do the stream or.
See, we don't know, right?
I'm not 100%. Okay, I think Ian is saying moi. I think Ian won. Okay, let's say it was. There we go. I think Ian's making it pretty cool. So Ian, you've got to come over to twitch.tv/thingy. And that's the end. Bye. 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 This is the end of the show. Bye. 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 Thank you for watching along. Bye. 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 Time to go. Bye. 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 This is a goodbye song. Sorry, I messed up everything. Bye. 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 This is a goodbye song. Bye. 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 Thank you for watching along. Bye. 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 This is the end of the show. Bye. 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 And
now
it's time to go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, people. Mwah.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye. Bye-bye.